Hi guys, in this episode we're gonna be making cheesecake brownies. We're gonna start with the cheesecake layer first and then we'll go on with the brownie. So the ingredients that you will need for the cheesecake layer is 1 pack of cream cheese, about 8 ounces, room temperature, 1/4 cup sugar, white sugar, and 1 egg. Now that I've shown you the ingredients that you need for the cheesecake layer, let's start making it. In a mixing bowl, I'll be using my stand mixer, but you can use your handheld mixer or you can use a whisk, but that will require a lot of elbow grease. You're gonna mix your room temperature cream cheese with your 1/4 cup of sugar. And now we'll just whip it till it's well combined. Like I said, I'm gonna be using my stand mixer. I like using the whisk attachment because that makes it more fluffy. So we're just gonna the whisk and we're gonna start creaming the cream cheese and the sugar. You just have to gradually come and get the cream cheese out of the whisk because it gets stuck in there. But as you can see, it's starting to get very creamy and fluffy, which is what you want for your cream cheese layer. Like I said in my previous video, don't forget to scrape the sides. Now that it's fluffy, you add the 1 egg. And we'll continue whipping until it's well combined. Now that it has reached this creamy consistency, that's when you know you can stop. Now that we made the cheesecake layer, we can now make the brownie layer. The ingredients that you will need for the brownie layer are 1 cup chocolate chips. I'm using semi-sweet chocolate chips. 1/2 cup of white sugar. 1/4 cup of butter at room temperature. 2 eggs. 2/3 cup of white flour and 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. These ingredients will also work if you just want to make brownies. To start out with the brownie layer, we're going to be melting the chocolate using the double boiler method. In a heat-proof bowl, you're gonna put your 1 cup of chocolate chips and your 1/2 stick of butter. You're gonna take this to a saucepan that has water boiling. Turn off the heat and you put the bowl on top of the saucepan for the chocolate and the butter to melt. As you can see, I have my water boiling I have my hot water right here. So you just put this on top of this. Don't let your bowl touch the water. And you just start mixing gradually until everything melts and combines. It's gonna take you a few minutes, but just be patient. It will eventually come together. After a few minutes of being in the double boiler, the mixture should look like this. Everything's combined. It takes a long time, but just be patient. There should be no traces of butter or chocolate chips in here. The next thing you add is your half a cup of sugar. And your 2 eggs. Make sure you remove it from the saucepan when you're doing this. And back to mixing. I don't recommend you doing this in the stand mixer because it may overmix and the brownies don't come out good. Just keep mixing until you don't see any egg or sugar. Now the mixture is more manageable. The next thing is to add the dry ingredients. You're gonna use a sifter to sift the flour and the baking powder to make sure that there are no clumps.
All you do is just add it and just keep tapping. This will get rid of all the lumps. And back to mixing. It looks like it's not manageable, but you just have to keep mixing. It will eventually come together. Don't forget to scrape the sides. Making brownies is an arm workout. So it's coming together. Just keep mixing until you don't see any traces of flour.
At the end, it should look like this. Now that you've made the brownie mix and the cheesecake mix, it's time to put it together. So you need an 8x8 baking dish and you're just gonna grease it. Make sure you grease the sides as well. You're gonna pour about 3/4 of your brownie mix onto your baking dish. 3/4 or about 80% of it. Distribute it evenly onto your baking dish. The next thing to do is you're gonna add your cheesecake layer.
You're gonna add all of it. Make sure you wash your hands when you're doing this. You're gonna distribute the cream cheese layer on top of the brownie layer.
With your remaining brownie batter, you're just gonna grab a spoon and start scooping little bits of the brownie onto the cheesecake layer. And you're gonna grab a chopstick or a toothpick and you're just gonna swirl to make that fancy design. I'm not that artistic, but this will work. And you're just gonna put this in a preheated oven at 350 for 25 minutes. After 25 minutes, it will look like this. Just make sure you just bake it for 25 minutes. It will look a little bit jiggly and you might think it's not cooked, but just the key for any good brownie is for the middle to still be uncooked, because the baking dish will still be hot, so it will continue to cook. So just let it rest for a few hours until it's completely cool, and you might want to just throw it in the fridge. And like I told you before, with the brownie ingredients you can just bake a brownie, and I also made a brownie. You just pour it into an 8x8 baking dish and then you just bake it for 20 minutes. It will still come out a bit jiggly, but just let it rest and enjoy. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Cooking with the Late Sisters. If you have any requests, please let me know in the comments. And thank you for watching, and see you in the next episode. Bye!